fell off the bed, and it was the funniest thing. Everything got shoved over sideways when he fell off the bed. You hear the big crunk, and it was like just as we came on.
Cool. There we go. There we go.
Hi,
Now we're live.
everybody.
It's hard for me to watch the comments, so Tiffany, bear with us. I'm watching my tablet for the comments, so
I just figured I'd put it on too.
yeah, help me keep up with the comments, please, Lisa. You know how I am.
Now.
Figured I'd put it on too. Oop, I turned my volume down.
Yeah, help me keep up with the comments. There we go. Now we're live. Well, I've been having a lot of problems streaming this to my page, and I finally figured it out. It just takes a minute.
I was just gonna say you're there.
Yeah, I see it. Cool. Hey, Brian Key, Carol Hunter, Katie Parker. How's everybody doing tonight? Tonight, we have the wonderful Tiffany Cornett with us in the house. And thank you for coming and being here, Tiffany. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Absolutely. And, you know, I understand that you're quite the gatherer, or are you into herbs or?
I have become quite the gatherer or forager. Yes, I have.
I said it wrong. I should have said forager.
No, you're good.
I would like to find time to do it more myself, but I got so many irons in the fire. I'll get out there one day. There's so many things that grow in Florida. I'd be nonstop. I'd be gone all day, come back sunburned.
It's hard.
Hey, Richard, how are you doing, buddy? I want to start off with the end issue and let everybody kind of get it. Hey, John Benson's in the house. He says, "Who's that crazy lady?"
Oh, hi, John.
Johnny who?
But I kind of wanted to give everybody an idea who you are and where you are, and if you would mind letting us where you're at and how you fill in on the moonshine community.
Well, I'm in East Tennessee, and sometimes I have to really think back of how I ended up in this moonshining community. I started foraging, and my husband, I decided to ride a horse that hadn't been rode in 5 years, and I don't ride horses. I was watching Heartland, actually, and got inspired and broke my leg and was off of work. I'm a hairdresser. I had my own salon, and so I was self-employed, and my husband took a job at the water department and wasn't happy. And about a year and a half into that, he had to check a pressure reducer valve in a salon. And he called me. He said, "Babe, you're not going to believe this, but there's this place called Ace Custom Copper, and they're making moonshine stills in there." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "It's cool as hell." He said, I'm going to take my lunch break. I'm going to go back down there and see if there's anybody in there. I got to go in there." And I said, "Well, go for it." So he went on his lunch break, and Tracy Bumgarner was there. And he went in, and Tracy gave him a business card that had, he had engraved, it was metal. And he brought it home, and he tore all the pieces about this steel building store that he found. And he said, "I'd love to get in there and learn how to do that." And I said, "Well, why don't you just tell him?" And he said, well, that was probably in April. And Father's Day came, and I took the boys, and I said, "Come on, guys." I said, "Let's go down here and get Dad a hat from Ace Custom Copper." And so I went in and met Tracy, and he remembered my husband. And I said, "Well, if you ever need any employees," I said, "call Chris. He wants to get into this." And then about the end of June, early July, I was up in Northwest Indiana visiting my family. And Chris called, and he said, "Guess who just hired me?" And I said, "Well, who?" And he said, "Ace Custom Copper." And I said, well, good. So he worked part-time after he worked at the water department until about September. And he finally quit at the water department and started full-time with Tracy. And so that's how I stumbled upon the moonshining community.
Gotcha. Awesome story. Thanks for sharing. That's so cool. And yeah, like I always say, you never know unless you ask. And,
Yep.
The worst you can say is no, right?
Yep.
You're not any worse off than you were. So,
Absolutely.
oh, that's awesome. And also, that being said, now that you guys are involved with Tracy Bumgarner, Flaming Aces, I wanted to share a couple of photos that were taken. A lot of them have already been shared on Facebook and whatnot. And let me see. Let me go through these real quick.
Johnny Benz says she's a kick-ass mom along with her husband, Chris. Great.
Aw, thanks, John.
Yeah, sweet.
Thank you for helping me keep up the comments, Lisa.
Marfugel Bar and Afraid Not. Hello, Kenny Parker.
Prohibition Moonshiners watching. Hey guys, Afraid Not. Kenny Parker. Hey guys, thanks for coming. Here's one that you did, right?
I did. Yep. I tried that. I made that for myself. Chris said that he said, why'd you make the handle like that? I said, it's called artwork. It doesn't have to be what you think. I'm like, that's the way I wanted it.
It almost looked like a coon pecker to me, but
Could be. That would be a good idea.
Hey,
Right,
there's another one. I was looking. Oh, this is a Case. This is the younger boy, right? Yeah. Or no, that's Case.
That's Case, the older one, the 10-year-old. Yep.
Still builder in the works. I like
oh,
it.
man.
I like it. That's cool.
Yeah. Looks like
And, let's see. I got so many. It's hard to go through these.
I know. I sent you way too many.
No, you did good. I picked up a few on my own too. So.
Oh, good. Good.
I'm just trying to sort out what's what. Let's see. I downloaded some stuff. I saw it. Do you have your own store or no? You don't. Okay.
I don't.
You work or you have a good friend that has a boutique or something?
I worked, yes, I had my own salon inside of the Cottage Boutique, downtown Elizabethton.
Okay.
And I probably would have stayed there till I was dead. But being as Ace Custom Copper and Flaming Aces Distillery are in a same building complex, there's a salon in between, and she offered for the same amount to come and rent a chair, so I'd be right there. And I thought, well, I can't pass that up. I mean, it was so much more convenient. I mean, it just really goes to show that this is fate, kind of, we'll say, because I really do believe that God has led me and my family down this road, and things just keep popping up that it's just meant to be. I'm meant to be there. So I decided it was hard because I'm pretty much family with the girls at Cottage Boutique. It was hard to leave there. They pretty much helped raise my kids. So
Right. Yeah, that's hard. But like you said, God has a plan. So
yep, he does. Absolutely.
I've always said everything happens for a reason. So
Absolutely.
Johnny Benz says he has a 1.5 gallon legal still by Case.
Yes, he does.
Only 10-year-old to have a serial numbered still that he built in a legal distillery.
Would that be the one, John?
That would be the one.
Yeah, that's awesome. John, I'm glad you're watching. I need to make a note to call you, sir. I keep meaning to call you and I keep forgetting. If I forget again tomorrow, call me, sir. I need to talk to you about something. I keep forgetting. If I don't write it down, I'll forget. But yeah, Hydroman. Wow, hello everyone. Wow, Mrs. Tiffany Cornett is in the house. Howdy, ma'am.
Hey.
Vicky Egan Kohler, she just came in. Good evening.
Got a couple others here. I think I do anyway. Did I? Oh yeah, the copper pans. Did I show that one? No.
Yeah.
I did. Okay.
No, you didn't show that one yet.
No. I showed. Yeah. Okay. I showed the cup and then yeah. Okay.
That's
Those
cool.
those Case did too, right?
Yes, he did.
And didn't you say that he had an order for some camping gear or something? That's what he paid for those?
Those were the camping pans. Yep, that he that was ordered.
Nice.
It took him a little longer than it should have because he got a girlfriend in between, but he finished them and they turned out good. So
That's awesome. Well, here's your boys with JB Raider, right?
yep.
Yeah, JB Raider. That's cool. That's real cool. And I understand. I tried to download a video of the first Mash build, and I couldn't download. It wouldn't let me download it. And maybe later I can download it when I do interview and have Tracy on my podcast.
Absolutely. That would be a good one.
I had to save some for Tracy, right? But he's got a lot, so yeah, I don't think I'll be an issue with that. So, you guys, one of the labels that are first labels that are coming out is this right here.
Yep, the Blue Hole Sour Mash.
Right.
There's a very populated recreational area, the Blue Hole. I actually just visited it for the first time since I've lived here for 20 some years last summer. And it's pretty cool. It's a waterfall. You can swim and kind of isolated, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Trying to catch back up on the comments. John says, yep, that's a good little running rig, and that's what I mean by good parents. Kids learning and doing things, not playing video games. Hell,
Which is what they're doing right now, is playing video games.
of course.
Well,
That's awesome.
those are very nice. Good work, young man.
Thank you.
Richard Henderson. He and his wife are both here.
There's also, you helped out with an episode of Moonshiners with Amanda,
Yeah.
and for whatever reason, they cut you out.
Yep.
And I do have a picture of you and her and Kelly after the filming. I'll share that real quick. There you are.
There we are.
That's awesome. I wanted to share a little story about that. I know that Jay and Amanda reached out to you and was able to touch base with you and get that. I had made a huckleberry and I posted about it. And Jay, shortly after, sends me a text and says, "Hey, where can I get some elderberry?" I don't know. He said, "Didn't you just make some elderberry?" I said, "No, I made huckleberry." "Oh shit, where can I get some elderberry?" The only one I knew that's ever dealt with elderberry was Tracy. So I said, "Give Tracy a call." So he did, and here you are.
That's the way it happened.
And then here you go with the elderberries.
Hot dog peppers. Is that hot peppers in there too?
There you go. Let's go get some elderberries. I'm ready. I'll tell you, the time I had the opportunity of trying some of Tracy's elderberry, it was phenomenal. It was really, really good.
It is good.
And I haven't had the chance to make it or the opportunity, but one day I will. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that.
Good for
It's
you.
different. It's definitely a different taste, but it is good.
Yeah. That's one for John Vince. There you go, John.
Yep.
There was another label too. Yeah, this one. Oh, we already did that one. Oh, my bad. This one. There we go. Stony Creek.
Yep. And that's the community that we are opening up, Flaming Aces Distillery. So, we're trying to highlight the fact that, it is Stony Creek and highlight some of the populated areas that people like to go to,
Cool.
the Blue Hole.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's see. Trying to get through these. Now that's the younger son, right?
Yes. That's Huck, and he says he wants to come up with his own recipe. for some huckleberries. So maybe he needs to call you and talk to you about that.
All right, I'll be more than happy. Huckleberry is really good. In fact, I drank some last night.
I've never tried it. I've never tried anything huckleberry. So
Fill us in on what this is. That's the one he gave, right? Yeah.
yes.
Okay. That's cool. And I think that, oh, no. Okay, tell me what this is. I think I know what this is, but I want to hear it from you before I screw it up.
So at the head of Stony Creek on the way to Shady Valley, there is a spring that comes out on the side of the road. And Chris and I were getting some water to test. And we had talked about possibly using that as our water source for the distillery, but it didn't work out. So,
That's
but it's pretty cool. I mean, you drive way up to the head of the creek, and it's just a little tiny pull off right there, and it's just constantly running out of the side of the mountain. And lots of people are stopping there and collecting water from there. So it was pretty cool.
nice. So what made it to where you couldn't use that in the future?
Well, supposedly, I say supposedly because I didn't do it myself, but supposedly it was tested and it had a little bit too much iron
Okay.
in the water. So we decided not to go with that.
So I want my coffee tested to find out how much caffeine's in it. Who do I send it to? You?
I know, right?
Zing, 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 zing.
Well, I made a coffee shine and it carries over the caffeine. I just want to know how much.
Shoot, yeah, that sounds awesome.
It is.
I'd be down with that. More caffeine, the better.
Right?
It's really
It's
good.
pretty strong. At least on the front half of it, you get the moonshine. On the back half, it's like you just did a shot of espresso.
Well, that sounds wonderful.
It's pretty good. I was impressed. with
Coffee
it.
and everything.
What's that, Lisa?
It's got the smell of coffee.
Mm.
It's got the smell.
It's clear. It's 100 proof.
Coffee,
Clear. It doesn't look like coffee. It looks like water.
yeah.
Have you tested the caffeine in it?
No, that's what I say. I want to, and I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know how either, but I bet Tracy would know how.
Tracy, yeah. Get involved on that. Well, that's pretty much all I have as far as videos and stuff to share. But I wanted to give everybody a background of you and the boys. I know Tracy's always posting videos and pictures of the boys at the shop. So I just wanted to make sure that I shared that in your contribution as well as your knowledge of the moonshine community and how you fit into this.
Well, I tell you one thing. Since September, I guess, we have really grown really close to Tracy and his wife, Teresa, and we consider them family. And we're all, even the kids, are super grateful for the opportunities that we've gotten to learn about, the art of copper. And I'm learning every day more and more about the distillation process. I didn't really like to learn stuff when I was supposed to be learning stuff. Now that I'm older, I can't get enough of it. So we're all really grateful for Tracy and all that he's just so open to share with us, and glad that God put us in his life, or him in our life, or however God figured it out. But we're all super grateful.
That's awesome. I say it all the time. The moonshine community is just so awesome. They're more willing to help and share with people, and that's what I like so much about them. Got Windsong on here. Hey, Windsong, she's streaming over from YouTube. Windsong is Cyrus Mason's wife.
Oh, nice. Yep, that's right.
Welcome in, Windsong. John Ben said, "Send me a shot. I'll test it. I'll taste it."
There you go.
I'd be more than happy to send you some, John. Winsong says, Tiffany, do you sell those cups?
Well, I'm not opposed to selling the cups. I haven't sold any. My daughter made some mugs that she was selling, but I wouldn't be opposed to selling some of them.
There
I
you go.
want some.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gives a better
You know what?
flavor and has medicinal properties as well.
absolutely.
One of the questions in here was time to use dandelions. How would you use dandelions?
Depends on
Well,
what.
dandelion has all kinds of medicinal purposes. I have some that I foraged for that I dried and put away, and some dandelion root. One of the main things that I've seen is people making dandelion mead. I haven't tried that yet. I want to though. What about you, Lisa? Have you done anything with dandelion?
Yes, yeah. We used to eat the fresh leaves, and my grandmother would put the petals, the flower petals, in lemon cakes,
Mm,
and they were good. And the root is good for coffee. If you brown it off, chop it up and brown it off, it's good coffee.
yum.
If
And
you're
what are the medicinal properties and values of that?
the vitamin C and stuff in the leaves, I do believe it's vitamin C in the leaves, and it's a diuretic and cleaner of your system. You know, it cleans out. I don't know what the big word is for it, but cleans out your system.
But Tiffany, don't ask me what my experience with dandelion is, because I'll tell you, I just went out there and sprayed it because they were weeds.
I have a bunch of things saved on here. It tells you what the vitamin, C, D, and all those in it, and gives you a bunch of uses for it. They make a salve. They make a dandelion jelly. They make a dandelion wine. There's a couple
That's
dandelion
what
wine
I want to do a dandelion wine. I've been
So,
dying to do that just because.
but my grandmother used to take the smaller leaves. The big ones are bitter, but the little leaves and put them in spinach, like a spinach,
Yep,
and
I've heard of that.
butter and vinegar on them. Yum.
John Benz made the comment, Lisa's trying to say it gives you the poopies.
Yeah, the poopies.
My daughter made a joke today to my mom. She said, have you heard of the new movie Constipation?" My mom said no, and she said it never came out.
It never came.
She hadn't told me that one. I was like, oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one. I love that. I'm going to be using that.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be using that one. That's too funny.
Yep, I think it cleans your blood is. I'll have to look, but I think it cleans your blood is what it's known for.
Hey, Mark Schneider.
The page I can look. I wrote all that down so I'd remember it.
I know one of the worst things, and I think I said this during the filming of Moonshiners. Yeah, it kept saying, well, pointing out different things on our little walk towards the elderberry bush. And they said, what's this? And I would say, and what's it for? And I would tell them. And finally, they pointed at something and I told them what it was. And they said, what's it for? And I said, well, to be honest with you, I have so much information about so many different plants in my head. There's some things that I just can't remember that I have written down. So I'd have to go back and look at that.
Yeah, that's my problem.
You're right. A lot of it blends together because a lot of us have the same principles and the same. So, yeah.
Yep.
Shit, I can't remember. People ask me the name of plants, and I'll tell them because it's the most common. It's an ACA.
Uh-huh.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yep.
So, yeah. It's been so long since I've been out of the horticulture community. I've forgotten more than I've learned. So what's your go-to, Tiffany, as far as making any kind of herbal remedies or say we just got over cold and flu season or even allergies? What's your go-to?
Well, I have several. As far as antibiotic, antiviral, antibacterial, it's called, my kids and my husband, they all have this burned into their heads, and they say it. I don't know if they realize what they're talking about or if they just remember the word, but it's called Usnea lichen.
Yeah, Usnea.
Yes, and so also old man's beard. So that's my number one go-to if my kids get strep throat, UTIs, even when last year my daughter got, I don't know what she had, because I didn't take her to the doctor because I thought, I can do this. I can treat this. She had a fever, achy, headache, sore throat. I thought, well, it could be flu, it could be COVID, it could be strep. And I just started dosing her every 2 or 3 hours with that. And the next day she said, I'm going to go spend the night with my friend. And I said, well, you're symptom free now, but do they realize that you had a fever and all these symptoms the night before? But she was fine. So that's my number one go-to.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's good to know. You heard it here.
There's antimicrobial. I just had one saved. It's a Sov recipe.
Yes.
Antimicrobial and antifungal. Athlete's foot, ringworm, cuts, scrapes, burns, chapped skin, lips.
Absolutely. It's pretty much it really is like an all-purpose cure for whatever ails you, I guess.
Some places they have that Spanish moss that hangs in the trees.
Yes.
And it looks like that, but Usnea, when you grab it, you'll pull it apart and you'll have that little string like a ligament in there.
Yes.
Little,
like a white rubber band.
Yeah, it's in there. You can tell
That's
when
good
you pull
to
it
know.
apart. Spanish moss will just pull apart. The Usnea, the covering of the stick will kind of come off first, and you'll be left with that little tendon in the middle.
Yes.
So you can
If
tell. Yeah.
you all keep talking, give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll go to the comments. Hydroman. Okay, real question. How many pounds berries times HCO and sugar and about 5-gallon buckets of honeysuckles are needed to make it worth the effort? I have a clue, Randy.
I don't know. Honeysuckle, if you're using the flowers, it'll take a lot.
Yeah, I would take yeah, I don't know, dude. I'd be afraid to answer that one, sir.
Are you talking about honeysuckle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about using some honeysuckle because I felt like that was something that I could put the kids to, and with me, we could probably forage quite a bit because there's so many blooms on the bush. Tracy's wife, Teresa, talked about doing some kind of honeysuckle honey recipe. And I'd like to pursue that. I don't know what will come of it, but I would, I'd be down for pursuing it. I'd say it would taste good for sure.
Yeah. I at one time I had a lot of honeysuckle in the backyard growing, and the hummingbirds love it.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Johnny Ben says he's going to run. Been a long day. Great topic. Tune in, listen to it tomorrow. He's had structure fire after fire. It's time to rest. Shout out Tiffany and Chris are great people. Knowing them for a short time and are top-notch people. And
Aw,
if
thank
Chips
you.
is listening, if
Love you,
Chips
John Vince.
Case said check that solder.
So, other than honeysuckle, is there another flower that you would recommend as far as making a tea? Or I know there's a lot of them.
For like flavor or for
Yeah,
medicinal?
well, for medicinal, of course, yeah. I know one of my favorites, I never made a tea or a tincture out of it, but I just love the flower just because of the beauty and the smell of it, was passion flower. And
They are medicinal too. I'm not sure what they're medicinal for, but they are medicinal.
I'm sure
Well,
that
I have made a tincture. I haven't used it. It's really good for anxiety, and they are beautiful and strange looking.
Yes.
Very messy to try to blend up and make a tincture out of. And I have a friend that asked for some, and I gave it to her. I don't know that she's used it. I think she found more benefits from prickly lettuce in that aspect than she did the passion flower tincture that I made. I think the passion flower tincture doesn't taste as good as any of the
Looks.
others. Not that any of them taste good, but I do have some, and I haven't tried it. I haven't tried it for anything. So
Right. That's cool. That's good. Thanks for sharing that. Awesome.
That wild lettuce, a lot of people have been asking about that for pain, and
well, I don't know, Lisa, if you've ever used it or had anyone close to you that's used it, but my husband during the flood, he came home from work and it was a Friday night or Saturday night, and he said, I've got a kidney stone, and I thought,
Oh,
there's no way that I'm going to the ER with you tonight, and there's really no way that I really want to spend the night at home with you in that kind of pain. And I had some wild lettuce from the year before that I had dried, and I hadn't used it because it said it had an opium-like effect, and I thought, well, that's scary. I'm not using that or giving that to anybody. So I thought about it, and I was like, well, I feel like maybe it was for such a time as this. So I didn't have time to make a tincture with it, but I steeped it in some tea for about 15 minutes, and I said, here you go. I was like, we'll see what happens. And he took it, and about 30 minutes later, he said that the pain was gone, and he slept all night long, and it never bothered him again. So I was like, we've got to get more. I didn't have much of it, but and of course, when you're looking for something, that's when you can't find it.
of
yes.
course. Always.
Up here, the moose love it. The moose will eat it, and they'll go lay down and act foolish. They'll just lay there and moan and stuff.
Uh-huh.
You can tell because the
I'll
stalks
tell you.
come up and then they're bit right off.
The time I had kidney stones, I thought I was going to die. I talked about this the other day, and it's such a pain that it's wow. I've never had such a pain, and I've talked to people that women even say that they would rather give birth than have a kidney stone.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if that cures the pain for that, I'm all in. Because I'm telling you what, I was at the ER. I had an ambulance come get me. That's how bad it was.
No, I know.
I was in the ER telling them, just cut them off. Just cut them off. I don't need them. Just cut them off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and my husband said after taking the wild lettuce tea, he said, it didn't make him feel like, it didn't alter his mind.
Wow. That's awesome.
He said he did say that it made his legs feel really relaxed, but as far as making him feel like he took opium or narcotics or anything like that, he said he didn't get any of that. So
Wow, that's awesome. So it just gave the pain relief effect of opioid.
yep.
Wow. I'm definitely going to remember that one. I got a tooth that's bothering me. I need to go get some.
There you go.
Richard Henderson, he says a little over half of a 5-gallon bucket made around a gallon and almost a half of mead. So,
They weren't mashed in, they were just loose.
yep.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Thanks for sharing, Richard.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
I wouldn't have known that one.
Yeah.
How many elderberries per gallon of water?
Well, I think I used, and I'd have to really go and look at my recipe, but I'm pretty sure I used 6 cups of elderberries to 3 cups of water, or maybe it was vice versa, 3 cups of elderberries to 6 cups of water, and then you reduce that. So it takes a lot of elderberries
Wow.
I
to
drink
make.
a lot of elderberries. That's just what he typed into.
It's a lot.
They have to
Hello,
be
Jason Acosta and David Dance. Hello, guys. Thanks for joining.
elderberries have to be boiled, right?
Yes.
No.
For about an hour before, and you have to leave the lid kind of cracked on the pot that you're boiling them, because they actually contain cyanide.
Yeah.
Um, one thing I forgot to add about my little story about the moonshiners filming,
Uh-oh.
about a day or two after we filmed, Tracy said, "Have you talked to Amanda?" And I said, "No." And he said, "She's in the hospital." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said,
Oh,
"It's bad." And I said, what do you mean?" And he said, "Well, I don't know." So I started messaging her and I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Girl," he said, "I have been so sick." And I said, "Did you eat those elderberries?" And she said, "No." And I said, "What about, oh shoot, what was it that she put her hand in a tree?" And I said, "I don't know for sure, but that might be water hemlock, and it is super
Poison.
poisonous, dangerous." And immediately afterwards, she got this burning sensation on her arm.
Yep.
And I said, "Well, come over here." I said, "There's some jewelweed growing." I said, "It's supposed to be good for stuff like that to counteract." So I broke the stem open and I rubbed it on her arm, and she said, "Well, I don't know if I'm just making this up in my head or if it's really helping, but it feels like it's really helping." And I said, "Well, that's what it says that, that it does, that it counteracts poison ivy, poison oak, blah, blah, blah."
that's
I
awesome.
started looking up the effects of water hemlock, and what she described to me, her symptoms, they thought she was having a stroke because she lost all control of her limbs, her arms, her legs. And I guess it was because her body was protecting her vital organs.
Yep.
Wow.
Um, and
Wow.
I mean, who knows? I don't know if it was from that or not, but I was like, sounds a little coincidental to me, but
Poison
you
hemlock.
know,
I had talked to Jay during that time, and he told me Amanda's really, really sick. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yep.
So, yeah, I remember that. Holy crap.
yeah, it was crazy.
They warn about poison hemlock because people are going after elderflowers.
Yeah.
They like the elderflowers too. And poison hemlock and elderberry flowers look a lot alike. And Queen
Very
Anne's lights, they look a lot alike, but they're, one's a tree and one's a plant. But if you don't know and you look at them, they look a lot alike.
Doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't the good one, sorry, have a purple flower in the middle of it?
Queen Anne's lace, yep.
Yeah.
One thing I learned this past summer, I follow Appalachian Forager.
Nice.
I don't
Oh,
see a lot of her posts, but the one that I do remember seeing is she said, one thing to remember about Queen Anne's lace is the queen has hairy legs.
Yep.
And it stuck with me. The
Yep.
stem of Queen Anne's lace has little hairs on it. If it doesn't have hairs on it, don't touch it.
Yep. And, poison hemlock will have little purple dots.
Right.
It looks it up
Yeah,
and down the stem too.
like purple or red splotches, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember some things.
Hydroman says Mark, he knows where loads are. He'll talk to you later.
Hell yeah, let's go get some.
Jessica Costa's in. Janet Parker. Good evening.
Janet.
Moonshine. David Dance is in here. Hi, Dave.
Awesome.
So,
She even said, good evening, Uncle Moonshine. I like that.
yeah, Janet Parker.
Brady likes to call me Uncle Mark. This don't sound right. Awesome. So, how long have you been messing with herbs and natural remedies, Tiffany?
Well, I guess it's been a couple years, not that long.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you're very informed and you are doing some research and doing some following and following others. The one you just mentioned before, I think she's on TikTok, isn't she?
Who is it?
The one you just mentioned, I can't. Um,
Oh, the Appalachian Forager.
yes, yes.
Yes, she's got a lot of information.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw her. I don't know. No, I just saw a few of her videos. I haven't been on her live. Yeah, I started following her. Yes, that's right.
She'd be a good one. She'd be a good one to have on your podcast.
There's a couple that I have asked, and I think she was one of them. And yeah, for sure. I'm trying to reach out to more and more that are knowledgeable in the area because I'm not that knowledgeable about herbs and stuff. The only background I have is horticulture, but that's all plants and soils and all kinds of shit. So,
well, it all goes together.
Right. They're all plants, right?
The other thing you had said about the jewelweed, it does grow right next to poison ivy or poison hemlock. So if you do get into it, look for the little orange flowers and mash it up. You can make a tea out of it, soak it in water and drain it out and freeze it. Put it in ice cube trays, put it in your freezer, and you can have it whenever you want it.
I did that last year after dealing with Amanda. Now, let me ask you this, Lisa. I tried, which I did do it. I made a salve for rashes, poison ivy, and the main ingredient in it was jewelweed.
Yep.
But the jewelweed, I had to do it in a tea first. And so after it spits in the containers that I put them in, when I open them, however much time later, the jewelweed is still liquid. Do you have any kind of input on trying to solidify that into it?
She said, I don't know. Maybe a little bit more of the beeswax would control it. Maybe boiling it down. Maybe was it cool when you put the tops on?
Yeah, it was. And I just wondered if maybe there was something I could add into that to kind of mix it in to where it would kind of soak up some of the liquid before I added the beeswax.
Right. All I can think of is maybe a little bit more beeswax to suck it in,
Mm-hmm. I'll have to play with it.
I never boiled mine, so I always just put it in with the water and put it in a mixer and let it go around for a while and then strained it out and froze it. And if you want it, I take it right out from there.
Yeah.
So I've never boiled it.
I'll have to play with it and see what I can come up with.
Yeah, a little bit more beeswax maybe. Did you use an oil or like a shortening? Some people use shortening.
I've never used shortening.
Yeah, my grandmother used to use shortening because we didn't have anything. The internet weren't around then, so my grandmother would use shortening and bear lard, whatever if she had it, but she'd use shortening, vegetable shortening, because
I'll try that.
It might suck it in better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing that I hate, that I didn't have somebody from the background that taught me the first old day ways, the way that they did things from the beginning. I feel like those are the best ways to do things, and I feel like we've lost a lot of that in these later generations.
I didn't know she was teaching me, Yeah, I just found her everywhere. And then in like 92, I did that Herbal Healer Academy thing there. Got my certificate in 92, I think. And all the things that I was reading, I was like, my gram did that. My gram did that. That's why she did that. Oh, that's, and all those things
awesome.
came back. For years, I didn't even think about it. And then all of a sudden, there it was. I had all that knowledge packed away that she had just put in me because I followed her everywhere I had to, wherever she went, I went.
That's awesome. Make sure you write all that stuff down that you got in your head.
Yeah. Yeah. My
I have
kids
to
are
ask,
not
Tiffany, what do you, I'm sorry, Lisa, I interrupted you.
my kids aren't interested. Neither one of them.
Ah,
I think
but they swear you're a witch,
yeah, they just think I'm going to be that encyclopedia forever.
right? Tiffany, I have to ask, what are you sipping on?
Well, I'm embarrassed to tell you what I'm sipping on. I'm sipping on gin and LaCroix at the moment.
Well, that's all right. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Nothing wrong with it at all.
Well, when you start making your own, it's kind of embarrassing to say that you're sipping on something that's not your own.
Well, I'll
you
say
know.
this, that, and in the beginning, we all want to make sure we're sipping on our own. And I used to get somebody to ask me, what are you drinking? I'd tell them a certain whiskey or whatever. Why aren't you drinking your own? You make it. But, at the same time, I like different flavors too. Kind of like my women. I like different flavors. I'm just kidding.
Well, if I had my choice as of right now, what would be available to me would be something from John Bent's, but he somehow hasn't been here in a while, and I don't know, but I feel like we've been lacking. So I've had to resort to gin and LaCroix.
I will come to his aid here. He has been putting out fires.
Yes.
I've heard that he has been pretty busy.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, Tiffany, I don't know if you're aware or not. This is the first time you've been on a podcast. I don't know if you've seen them before or knew a whole lot about me until recently, but on these podcasts, somehow, somewhere along the way, it got to be a norm that when somebody said ding, 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 or shots, we all take a shot. So,
Okay.
Time for a shot. We don't do as many on this show as we do other shows.
I'm down. I'm game.
This here, now, I was fortunate enough today. One of the things I was so busy doing was I filled a 15-gallon barrel today of my potato shine. This I've had in a bottle for 5 years.
Oh,
So I set this aside for tonight.
nice.
Yeah, I got it all filled. I finally got the barrel to quit leaking. Got it filled right before I came on here. It's not leaking. I got 16 gallons in it, as a matter of fact.
Dang.
So by the end of it, I should have about 80 bottles. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
I think it'll do me for the rest of my life.
Well, let me ask you this, because I'm not super knowledgeable about all of this, but you said potato shine. Is that considered to be like vodka?
A lot of people think so because they relate that to Russian vodka, potatoes and Russian vodka. I like to refer this to a lot of people because everybody thinks that. Everybody says, "Oh, you make vodka. You make it out of potatoes. You make a vodka. Vodka can be made out of anything, but it has to be 190 proof or higher to be considered vodka. That's why it has no flavor.
Okay.
All the flavors cooked out of it. But then they'll reduce it down to 80 proof, 90 proof, or whatever with water or distilled water, whatever. But it's still a vodka. Mine is considered a whiskey. It's just not in a barrel. But now it's a whiskey.
Nice.
But yeah, a lot of people I get that all the time. Oh, you make vodka. No, I don't make vodka.
That's what I thought. You got a question here. What is LaCroix? And I can't answer that. It sounds familiar, but
What is the what?
LaCroix?
LaCroix is a sparkling water. It doesn't have any calories, any sugar. My kids say it's disgusting. But I find it to add to gin, it's very crisp and light without the sweetness, but gives it a little bit of a hint of flavor.
Is that a homemade gin or a gin that you Tanqueray or?
It is not a homemade gin. Hopefully, we'll make some gin on our own at Flaming Aces Distillery.
Nice.
This, I believe, is Amsterdam or New Amsterdam.
Gotcha.
I
I
can go outside at my camp and I can pick juniper berries from the same bushes that my grandmother took me around to.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Crazy. I
That's
get some
awesome.
pictures of them. It's the size of a regular bedroom, you know. It's huge. It's a huge patch of them. Just one shrub.
nice.
Sprawled
That's
out.
amazing.
It's neat.
Richard Henderson made the comment, it's whiskey unless it's high proof. And Randy, I know you're making a lot of comments, buddy, and I appreciate you. And there's no reason why you can't still. I just can't get to all of them all the time. That's all.
Yeah, he says stop by for strawberry brandy. Come in, sip it when you can.
Oh yeah, Randy makes an awesome strawberry brandy. Randy lives about 3 hours from me, and I make a trip up there about once a month. And I stop by his place, and I stopped in one day. He was making some of that strawberry brandy. He does not use any sugar; it's all strawberries. And it's hard to make a strawberry shine. It really is. One that's flavorful and tastes good.
I've
And
heard.
He did this with nothing but strawberries, and I'll tell you what, at 140 proof, I was sipping that down like nothing. It was good.
Dang.
The little bottle he gave me of it, and it,
Oh, that's awesome.
You smell it. It's strawberry all day.
All
But you
day
hydro
long,
dip
strawberries.
it. One of them, you dip it in the not fabric, the plasticky stuff. That is my technical word for the day. Plasticky stuff.
I understand that.
So Jason Acosta says, what y'all got permitting now? Right now, Jason, I don't have anything permitting personally. I put it all right here. I'll be running it tomorrow. It's done permitting. I'll be doing another coffee run, and that'll be it for coffee for a while.
Richard Henderson says garlic. I'm not sure what that's an answer for, but
Brandon Buffington says, hey, ladies, nice seeing some pretty faces for a change. Thanks, Brandon. I appreciate that. Maybe I'll go put on a wig.
do you see some of the pictures Brandon shares? It's like he goes on these hikes and stuff. You see those?
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Very cool scenery.
So should I be seeing comments? Because I'm not seeing comments. That's probably my issue.
I have a second computer on the side, and it's in the group.
Okay.
That's what he's doing too. And you can. I'm in the group, and the comments are all in the group.
Maybe that's it. Next time I'll have my computer going.
Okay, so you're on your phone. There should be
Yes.
a place up to the top right. It says comments. Click that. You can see the comments.
Mine's right in the middle.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, I'm not seeing all these until just now. Sorry, everybody. I'm sorry.
No.
I don't see any comments.
Oh, well, that's a drag.
It should say stage
we'll
comments.
try to read them all to you. These are ones that pertain to you.
That might take a while.
Sometimes it gets overwhelming, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. I try to keep up with all the comments, and it's hard. That's why I asked Lisa, help me keep up with these things.
Well, it's probably a good thing that I can't see them because I can't. Sometimes I cannot even complete a sentence if I'm doing something else other than talking.
Yeah, it's hard. You'll be in the middle of a conversation, you look over and see somebody else's comment, and you get, what was
Yeah,
that?
that would be me.
That's what happens to Randy. I'll do this, and then I'll see everybody else's, and I get down the rabbit hole. Janet Parker says, "You look pretty."
No.
Oh, thanks, Janet. Can you all reintroduce Tiffany? I'm not sure I know her. By all means, Tiffany, take the honors, please.
Well, my name's Tiffany Cornett, and I'm just now getting into distillation. Somehow got thrown into the moonshiner community.
Thrown in there.
Yeah, grateful for it, mind you, but and I like to go out and see what's growing around me and what everything is used for. It's amazing to me how just right in our own backyards, how many things that are growing that I originally thought was weeds and nonsense is actually beneficial to us medicinally and nutritionally, and it just intrigues me. And every time I find something new, it intrigues me to find something else new. So
Absolutely. In case you don't know, Tiffany, Brandon Buffington, who asked that question, he's a master distiller. He was on the show, and he follows a lot of the moonshine community. So, and I don't know if Brandon understands that this is mainly an episode or a podcast about herbs and beneficial from plants and stuff like that. So that's why we asked Tiffany to come on, because we know she's into that kind of thing. And there you go, Brandon. And now you know Brandon.
Yeah.
You'll
He
see.
said,
Um,
do you use
Brandon-
mainly grains or fruit and roots? What's your specialty?
now, what was the question again?
Brandon asked, do you use mainly grains or fruit and roots? What's your specialty?
I wouldn't really say I have a specialty, but one of my favorite things, other than the Usnea lichen, is burdock root. I feel like it's an all-purpose thing. It's a pain in the ass, to be honest with you, to dig up. But burdock root is amazing. It's a blood purifier, and then it detoxes the liver. It helps with circulation and inflammation. It's probably one of my main ingredients that I've used. I came up with a facial salve that locally has blown up.
If
I had eczema really bad on my hands. I tried everything. I mean, a super good friend of mine is a nurse practitioner, and she gave me this steroid cream that would take care of the eczema at the moment, but it wouldn't cure it. I kind of gave up, and I know this sounds crazy, and if I hadn't gone through it and someone was telling me this, I probably would have thought what most people think about me is you're crazy and you've lost your ever loving mind. But having that eczema on my hands, and as bad as it would itch, and then my skin would dry out and it would break, and it was just, it mentally messed with me.
Yes.
And I started making this facial salve, and the main ingredient in it is burdock root, which helps with psoriasis and eczema. And it went away. And I didn't even realize that it went away. Now I will be honest, because that's how I am. My husband's like, no, don't say this or don't say that. He tells me that all the time to people. But I think I told you, Lisa, I'm an open book. So sometimes I tell the truth when it's not even asked of me. But honestly, here in the last couple of weeks, I've started getting more of, for the first time in 2 years, I've got a little bit of an eczema outbreak on my hand, and it's itching, and I'm thinking, have I not been using my salve, or have I not been making it enough? Because that's the only thing that I could go to that I could really honestly say really was what made the difference. But I'll have to keep you posted on that, because I haven't figured it out yet. But burdock root is amazing topically and taken internally as a capsule. It's wonderful.
Yep, it has it cleans your blood, so it helps your heart, because like a car, it's got
we
to
talked about that
clean
with
oil.
David Dance.
It's really good.
Absolutely.
David Dance is here. He's watching, and he made a comment last week. He asked to get information about tinctures or whatever are good for the heart. So that came up. Burdock root.
Yep.
There you go. And tell him to look into propolis, which is technically the spit of bees that they go out and collect from different trees, and the saps that they use to close up the cracks and holes and crevices of their hives. It's wonderful. for inflammation and all that kind of stuff.
I never knew that. I used to be a beekeeper.
Well,
Excellent.
most of my beekeeper friends, when they scrape the cappings, they get and they filter out the honey or the wax from the cappings. They throw the propolis away because they're like, "That's the gross stuff. That's the ugly stuff." I'm like, "Give it to me."
I always did. It was nasty looking. It's green and all. Yeah.
Yep.
Oregano
What is
oil,
it?
another one that's really good for cleaning your blood, and if you have something, viral going on, fungal going on, oregano oil is really good.
That's amazing. I've not used it, but I've heard.
Yep. It tastes strong, it's like, somebody's Italian grandmother's kitchen. You go in and you take a whiff and you're like, woo!
Yeah.
That's how it kind of tastes. It's very strong. But you take that and garlic. You can almost make a salsa tincture.
Yeah, there you go.
Without the tomatoes. It does. Propolis is really good for you. I didn't know. I'd heard of it, but I couldn't tell you what it was at the moment.
Put it in a swarm trap as an attractant. Who knew? I never knew this stuff. I thought I was really knowledgeable about bees, and now I'm just learning shit. That's too funny. I think it's time for another shot or something, but we all do what we want.
So the tinctures, what's your other go-to tinctures for making? What's your thing you get your hands into now?
Well,
let's add to that. Let me add to that just a little bit.
Okay.
Since we're on here with a bunch of moonshiners and we all drink a lot, we help clean your kidneys and liver.
Dandelion.
Yeah. That's
and burdock. Burdock
Yeah,
will
burdock.
help with the kidneys also. So.
Well, David Nance, I hope you heard that. And I hope you're still here, and I hope you heard that about your heart. So there you go. You got the answer yourself.
Yep, beef propolis. I told him, I was like, man, I wouldn't want to speak too much on that, because if you get a cut or sore and a burn and the hiccups, things, you can go to a plant. You get something wrong with your ticker, you go to your doctor. You don't chew on a plant. It may help. Little things, the dandelion, the burdock, and that would help. But man, for me to give any advice on something that does this,
Charlene Henderson asked a good question. Where do you find burdock root at?
Well, burdock root usually grows in well-disturbed areas, fields, roadside, but mind you, you don't want to forage something that's been anywhere where it might have been treated with pesticides or anything like that. The first time I looked for burdock root, it took me a good 2 months to find it. And when I did find it, it was growing in red clay mud, and we hadn't had any rain for I don't know how long. And it took me 3 hours with a pocket knife,
Oh my God,
digging it up, and the pocket knife ended up falling apart, and I only got probably 3 inches of root because it grows super long, super deep into the ground.
wow.
And it's really hard to really get the whole entire root.
Take your dog for a walk, you'll find burdock, because your dog will run around and get it in its fur. It's those little birds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, or horses. If you're around horses, you can
They
know
do
if
have
they've
to.
got, because they've got those burrs in their hair.
Yep. They do. They grow in pastures a lot.
And I've learned that if you're looking for something, you'll find it when you're not looking for it.
Exactly. All the time.
Either that or it's just me.
That's
No.
my main two this time is cleavers. This summer I want to get some cleavers. I used to find it all the time, and I haven't seen it in a long time. So I got it back.
I run into cleavers all the time, and I don't know if it'll be as beneficial to you if I send you some, because it won't be local to you, but I will be more than happy to send you some, because somehow I always get into it and it's stuck to me.
Yep.
We're not talking about meat cleavers.
No.
No.
No, it's
I'm
a
just-
little plant, and it looks like a star, and the stem comes out of the middle of it. And when you go by it, it'll go like Velcro on you.
Yep.
Tries to grab you, and
Jason, I want to answer Jason's. I have the answer to Jason's question. He says, "What helps with a hard-headed teenage boy? A good old ass whooping."
I
yeah.
agree. You're probably right.
What does the root taste like? It tastes like a root. It tastes like
Brandon's trying to make. He's trying to come up with a recipe for a mash. It sort of sounds like me. He said
Let me know if you come up with something.
earlier. He asked the question about how do you ferment that?
yeah.
I tell you what, honestly, when I met with Amanda, I was so excited because I got to share, my foraging knowledge, which I didn't realize was much. And afterwards, she was talking about moonshining, and I said, "Yeah, I don't really have any kind of interest in moonshining." And she said, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "I don't know the first thing about. I just go to the liquor store and get me whatever I want to drink. I mean, I think it's cool, but I mean, I don't know." And to be honest with you, and I'm going to say this, my husband will be mad that I said this, but I'll go ahead and say I'm from Northwest Indiana,
Nothing wrong
so
with
he
that.
doesn't get, feel like I've made him a complex. But when I thought about moonshiners, my initial thought was these dirty backwoods people with overalls that really didn't have a whole lot of common sense. They didn't, they just were kind of like, okay,
The Ma and Pa Kettle view. That's what I
I'm
say. The Ma
telling
and Pa
you.
Kettle. If you remember, I'm aging myself now with that Ma and Pa Kettle. But yes, yeah. When I
But
came into moonshine, and I had no idea what I was getting into.
I mean, and I will say, I'll put my apology out there because
Yeah.
when I
Yes,
realized that
ma'am.
foraging and moonshining, they go together like carrots and peas or socks and shoes. And really to be able to understand how the distillation process works and even the mash and figuring all the chemistry out. I mean, it's brilliant. And I've struggled with understanding that. And that's another reason I'm so thankful for Tracy, because I can ask him stupid questions and not feel stupid. And he will explain it over and over to me until I get it. And then I like to turn around when the kids ask me questions and act like it was so easy to understand and explain it back to them. But I really have a new respect for the Appalachian, the historical part of it, the nostalgia of it. And it amazes me. And I want to learn as much as I can. And I would love to be able to incorporate the medicinal properties of certain plants with distillation and moonshine, not just for medicinal purposes, but also to taste good.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's
And
the problem.
on that note, you're talking about you're drinking gin. For the longest time, I've stayed away from gin. I could not even go near it because of the way it tasted. It was like pine sap. And when I met Lisa Lowry, she turned me on to the gin that she made. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And
Is it, you can tell a difference between
Oh.
what you buy and,
she sells it. It's a legal bottle. It's one that's put out. And but wow, what a difference! What a difference!
Yeah.
It's got all the floral notes, everything you'd want in a drink. And I just totally fell in love. When I went to go visit her at the distillery, they had 5 different flavors set up at the bar. She says, "I want you to try these and tell me what you think." I said, "Well, I love bourbon, so I'll do that one last. And I'll start with the one I like the least, and that's gin." It ended up being the one I liked the most. But yeah, that's all made from botanicals. So,
She spoke about orris root today.
Oh, did she?
Orris root. Did you see the one? The flowers, the sweet flag iris.
I didn't see that.
She was talking about that because it holds its flavor a long time. And like they use it in dream pillows, it holds the scent a long time.
Wow.
It's an iris. It's that blue wild iris you see in the wetlands growing. It's sweet flag.
Nice.
She
I'll
spoke of
have
that
to,
today.
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Right. Brandon Buffington asked, so does Tiffany sell what she makes? Is there a website?
Well, okay, so once again, here I am, open book. I
Uh-oh.
don't have a website. Uh, I prepare things, and then as family and friends want something, they may tip me for something. But I don't have a store or a place where you can order and buy things from me. So there you go.
There you go.
They said burdocks, they call them rocket chase around here. Rocket
Oh, that
chase?
was Jason. Was
I'm
that
not
Jason that said that?
saying it right, but
I've not
Brandon
heard that.
Buffington, he says you nailed it with the description of the hillbillies. He says that's us, the moonshiners. Richard Henderson thinks he's got a bunch of burdock growing down below him.
Well, he's on a landmine then.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're right, Brandon. Yeah, basically a moonshiner. You're right. I don't have a website. I don't sell my product. I take donations.
Well, I mean, I've done enough research. I get it.
It's all good.
My
Yeah.
husband keeps reminding me that I am not a doctor. The kids will come home with something and he'll say, they need to go to the doctor. They need to da da da. And I'm like, I got this. And then he's like, you're not a doctor. And I'm like, I didn't say I was a doctor, but I feel confident that I'm maintaining it and I can fix it. So
It's that or pay a bill, then you got to go back for the revisit to make sure they're okay.
yeah.
That's what kills me.
I don't think I have a picture of burdock. They were asking what burdock looks like, and I'm trying to describe it. Little round balls about the size of a nickel round. And they're dry. And
The best description verbally that I can give is when you're walking through the field and you get home and you've got those little burrs stuck to your shoelaces. That came from a second-year burdock plant. If you go to I did not create this myself, but my Master Forger Tiffany's fan page, I do a video on there showing what burdock leaves look like. It actually wasn't in season, so they're not as big as they normally would be when they're in season and ready to go. But you want to dig the first year burdock root, so you can see what the leaves look like. Or you can Google it. Just Google burdock leaves, and it'll show you and give you the description of what you're looking for.
While you're saying that, I failed you on this. I don't have a link to your page. If you would describe that or tell us what page to look for.
I shared it today.
Oh, did you?
Aw, thank you.
I shared it in
I dropped the ball on that one. Thank you, Lisa.
Shared it in our group. So
That's why she's my co-host. She looks after me.
Well, typically the burdock root leaf looks kind of like a heart shaped, with the curves being up top if you're looking at it like that. And underneath it'll be almost white on the underneath of the leaf. But there's also curly dock and yellow dock, which when I was first looking, I was like, I found it. And it wasn't burdock. It was curly dock or yellow dock, which is, they're also good.
Right.
But
Tracy Bumgarner chimed in and says, he's going to bed. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks, Tracy.
he's going to bed.
Tracy, I'll hook up with you soon, sir. One of these days.
I'll put him on it.
Thank you. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just want to say goodnight to Tracy. I didn't even know he was here.
I didn't either.
Snooping.
So, yeah, you were talking about the burdock, and there's yellow burdock, and there's other burdocks. They're all beneficial in one way or another. But you were looking for the specific burdock.
Yes.
Yeah, there's yellow dock and curly dock. They're different. Yellow dock, I think.
You got the fishing dock and the boating dock.
Because the cancer treatment, it's echinacea and burdock root and one of the ginseng,
Ginseng.
and I think yellow dock is the other one in there. And that's what they
Nice.
use for the cancer treatment.
Yes, I do remember. I remember reading about burdock had cancer preventative.
Yeah, it's called Easiac. ESSIAC. Easiac.
Huh.
My uncle was on it back in '94, and that's where I heard of it.
Wow.
But it's burdock, echinacea, ginseng, and I think yellow dock is the other one. I'm not sure. There's another one in there.
Did it
Yeah.
make a difference?
And nah, he was pretty much gone, and you know, he
My
was
aunt.
still before he went. You know.
Yeah, a lot of times they don't figure things out and get it going before it's
Too late.
too far gone, I guess.
Yeah, it had already started to affect him, and he had gotten real skinny. And
My aunt, my great aunt, ended up, she developed breast cancer years and years ago. And she swears by, what is it? Cream of tartar. And dude, I'll tell you what, this stuff is the nastiest stuff you ever put in your mouth. It's a,
flour.
yeah, basically a flour. And it's very, very hard.
What
But-
is it?
It's called cream of tartar.
Yeah.
Oh, cream of tartar. That's the little thing that I buy. I have 6 of them in my cabinet because every time I need it, every 6 years, I don't remember if I have it. Okay.
So she swears up and down a tablespoon of that a day cured her cancer. But personally, I just think it was because her faith in God. She had faith that cream of tartar was going to cure her cancer, so it did.
It could have.
I like the.
Mind you, she was a Bible thumper. She carried that Bible everywhere she went. So
If you use that cream of tartar, and is it cream of tartar? No, it's cornstarch is the other one that makes the good slime. Cornstarch.
Oh, yeah. I know. Every time the kids, do we have this? Nope, we ain't got none.
funny story about cream of tartar. My parents were down visiting one Thanksgiving, and my dad was making breakfast for Thanksgiving. And he was making up biscuits and gravy, and he got the gravy too thick and ran out of flour. So he grabbed something that looked like flour, as cream of tartar. Oh my God. We didn't have breakfast.
Was it like concrete?
Oh, no, it's just very, very tart.
Really? See, I guess I've not used cream of tartar enough to know the effects.
It's,
Yeah.
it's bad.
Who I
He was
call
the first thing he saw, it looked like flour, and added it to it and thickened it up.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So while you're out foraging,
Yeah.
grab something that looks like it might work.
I just put your link in the comments if anybody wondered what that was.
Yeah, there you go. David Dance, you spoke about you're from Indiana. David Dance is from Indiana. And he's a follower of mine, and he's on here a lot, and I appreciate him saying that.
Yep.
Also, speaking of Indiana, I'm a Midwestern boy myself, so I'm from Missouri originally, so
Awesome.
nothing wrong about Indiana.
It made me feel good when Lisa said she was from Maine, and I thought, finally, somebody that's not going to say, "You're not from around here, are you?"
Yes.
My husband used to tell people I was a Yankee, but now he tells them I'm a prisoner of war. So I guess I'm moving up.
Indentured slave.
Good evening, Roy. Welcome in, buddy.
Yeah, cleavers is another one I wanted to find, and there was something else I was going to ask you about. The oregano oil was one. Cleavers.
I have found wild oregano growing down here by the river.
Nice.
My
They
aunt.
grow a lot here in Florida.
Oh, snot.
You see it a lot in Florida.
Do what?
Wild oregano, it's all over in Florida. It's everywhere.
I'd never seen it before, and I found something, and I was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Really?" I had no idea.
I had somebody say that marjoram looks just like oregano,
Ah,
They're really hard to tell apart.
Interesting.
I've
I didn't
never,
know
I've never
I'll have to
looked.
look too for that. Maybe it grows. I don't know if it grows close to each other or not.
Uh-uh. I've always just gone to the local plant store and bought one, so you know you had the right stuff.
Yeah.
And my aunt planted some, and I have always called it oregano. But when somebody asked me if it was really oregano or marjoram, so now I don't dare use it. And it's a huge patch, it's a big, big patch of it. And I don't dare use it because I don't know which one it is. I
Yeah.
guess it's hard to tell. So I never really looked. The bees love it, so I leave it there for the bees.
There you go. It's good for something.
for bees. How about clover?
Yes. Red clover, white clover.
Yeah. While I was growing up in Missouri, I had 6 beehives, and that was the honey was clover honey. It was abundant. It was everywhere. So that's what we had was clover honey. Really good.
The other things we had out was witch hazel. That's
Oh,
nice now because you can see the flowers are coming out. The flowers come out before the leaves do. And the yellow little bracts, I guess they call them, maybe. Witch hazel was one I had out, and purple dead nettle.
Purple dead nettle.
One yet? I haven't done that. We have stinging nettle and nettles here, but we don't have the purple.
oh, well, I'll send you some. I have plenty. It's all over everybody's yard in my neighborhood. And everybody keeps saying, "What is this stuff?" And I'm like, "Oh, law.
See,
It's everywhere." And I just found witch hazel last fall. Well, it was in the summer because it hadn't bloomed yet. A friend of mine bought an Airbnb not far from here, and I just went out and was looking at different things and seeing if there was anything growing there that I hadn't seen before. And one was witch hazel, and I was like, "Oh my goodness! I didn't know witch hazel grew like this."
Yep. Yep.
I'm familiar with it. I have no clue. Well, so what's the medicinal?
It's really good for your face. It cleans your pores out. It's I could read it, but
So it's good for kids
antifungal,
with pimples. Good for teenagers.
good for eczema and all that.
Yep.
I just opened up the Queen Anne's lace, so I was gonna read us something from there, and it won't let me magnify it no more.
Oh no.
Queen Anne of England. You said she had hairy legs, and Queen Anne of England had challenged her friends to make a piece of lace as beautiful as a flower. She pricked her finger in the needle, and a drop of blood spilled in the middle of the lace. So that's why the little red purple dot in the middle of Queen Anne's lace is signifying.
And that's awesome.
I have to say something that's totally off subject.
Yeah, well, we keep going back.
Yeah, when you said Queen Anne, my granddaughter's name is Reina, and Reina in Spanish means queen, and her middle name is Anne. So
Right.
it's Queen Anne.
That's awesome.
In fact, I have a candy coming out soon that she suggested to me that I made a moonshine that tasted like s'mores. So I did. So now I have a candy coming out soon that's a s'mores candy. Yeah.
Wicked good. Wicked good.
Just
Queen Anne's lace is diuretic.
Well, at least I'm sorry.
I just finally caught up to you to get to Queen Anne's lace. Good for your liver, getting rid of waste in your kidneys.
Definitely need that, especially as much as I drink.
And I think I read that it was like a wild carrot. So if for nothing else, you could eat it. It's nutritional.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
And that's why they were warning people about the hemlock, the poison hemlock, because the flowers look alike.
Yep.
And people were getting poison hemlock and I mean, they were getting blisters. It'll eat you up.
I saw that. That was scary.
Indian pipe. That was the other one. I'm looking at our page, And as I'm going down our page, I'm remembering things that we talked about before. The Indian pipe, have you used that one? The ghost pipe?
Ghost pipe.
I don't think so.
It's a painkiller and
No.
their inflammation. The little white,
looks
Oh, like,
like a mushroom.
oh,
stand
I've heard
up
of
like that.
those. I saw those, but I've never found one.
Yep.
They're hard to find. And
Huh?
they go in and out of season. They are hard to find.
Yep.
That'd be cool, though.
They're shaded, special growth.
It has to have mycorrhiza to grow. It's like an orchid.
Yeah.
No leaves. It's just a flower and a stem.
That'll be on my next challenge list.
Yeah.
I'm yeah.
They're really rare. They say, you take a third of what you find and all that stuff.
Yes,
My
please.
grandma would bring a thing of water and a thing of alcohol, and
Or
she'd rinse them in the water quick and then dump them in the alcohol
Yeah.
because they start to lose their properties immediately.
Immediately.
And you'll see them turning purple. So she had
Dang,
stuff right there to put it in.
that's cool.
As soon as you put it in the alcohol turns purple.
Yep, it will turn purple.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Jay, we're just talking about Jay. Jay just popped in. Jay Brennan.
Aw, hey, Jay.
I'm not seeing half the comments, and up here sometimes.
Well, just popped in on my page that he's watching.
Oh, there you go. You see Dave Dance is up here, and
Yeah.
Fred Not that I don't see over here.
Cody Townsend popped in. Tammy Coyle. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Brandon went to bed. Have a good evening.
I missed that.
Tracy Bumgarner, he's going to bed.
I love Tracy. He's a good guy.
He is good.
Neither Roy just got here and is saying good evening, y'all, or he's saying good night. I'm not sure.
I missed those.
Cardamom is supposed to be really good for you, I guess. Richard Henderson says.
Oh, cardamom?
Yep.
I've heard that is good for you. I don't know how it grows or where to find it.
Yeah. No. And it's different how much, like, the people knew. When Mark asked me about doing this, I'm like, I'm surprised how much people actually know,
Yeah.
of these things. And some of these people have surprised me with what they know all of a sudden.
Like the Richards.
Chance came out with that damn worm the other day. He made me look up.
Or like the Richards. They're real knowledgeable about a lot of stuff. With
Yeah.
Richard is one. Like, wow.
We're all gabbing along about stuff, and we were talking about ivermectin. And David Dance came up with some word, pyloria or something. And I go, I don't know what that is. And I'm expecting a happy little plant. I look it up, and it's like an intestinal worm or a gut worm or something.
Ugh.
So he got me on that one.
It's funny.
But I was surprised how much they knew of that stuff.
That makes me happy because I feel like we all need to know more about what grows around us locally and the benefits of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's somebody out there that we have no idea. That's what I was telling you earlier. Back in the day, I mean, dandelion, my mom had me out there spraying them and pulling them up.
Yep.
The other one that you guys can find around is the mimosa.
Oh my goodness. What have you done with the mimosa? Because I foraged the mimosa blossoms and I thought the blossoms smell like candy and I know they're medicinal. What could we do with mimosa blossoms?
Ooh.
We don't have them up here.
Oh,
They won't grow. They're a different zoning. But they're antimicrobial, I'm reading it. Antimicrobial, antifungal, antiparasitic, antiviral, antivenom, wound healing, antidepressant, anti-anxiety, improves indigestion and diarrhea. But the seeds are poisonous. So
well, I'm glad you told me that because I didn't know that.
Yeah, the seeds are poisonous. That I had learned prior. It might have been on Moonshine Show that.
Huh.
That's good to know because I thought the way they smell like candy, I thought that would make some good shine.
Yep, because Richard and Craig made mimosa,
I must not have seen that
Yeah,
one.
that's right. I remember that now. You're
and
right.
that's where I learned that the seeds. Yeah, and you can use the bark of it. The only thing I knew about mimosa was a friend of mine went to Jamaica, and they plant mimosa around the jail. So if anybody breaks out of jail, they'll leave a trail because the mimosa faints.
There you go.
Touch it, and they'd leave a trail when they left the jail. That's the only thing I knew about it. And then
Wow.
they came up with the mimosa with the antidepressant. Was the first one I looked up, but it was the bark
Huh.
you could use.
Nice.
But that's the only thing I knew of the mimosa, and it was a plant. You touched it and it passed out. It fainted.
Mhm.
Interesting. I
And
love
then-
learning new stuff. I love learning new stuff. Like you were saying earlier, Tiffany, back in my day in high school, grade school, all that, I cared less about all that. Now that I'm older, I want to learn all I can.
Me too.
Can't get enough.
That was the other one, the purple nettle and henbit.
Oh yeah, that's
Thing on-
my son was just asking me, what is this? And I said, well, I said, it looks like dead purple nettle, but it's actually henbit. And I said, here's how you tell the difference. I don't know if he soaked any of it up or not, but I tried anyways.
the henbit is kind of rounded in the leaves, whereas the purple nettle has more pointy ends.
Yes, and the henbit has like a space between the leaf formation, and the purple dead nettle does not.
Uh-huh. I know they look pretty close.
They
Bloodroot.
do. They're hard to distinguish.
Bloodroot and colt's foot. That was the other
That's
two.
part of what scares me about foraging. I was like, okay, is this really it? Or
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's so great. Everybody can have their phone now. You Google,
Amazon?
Well, and I've had close friends that took classes before they started foraging, and they didn't really go very far afterwards because they said the first thing that they teach you is the things that are dangerous and to stay away from, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But it made such an impact on them that they said we never felt comfortable to just go out and forage because we
Right.
were so scared. And thankfully, I guess so far anyways, I kind of went out on my own and just kind of started teaching myself. And so far, I'm still alive and well and not harmed, but I've learned a lot. And I'm not saying that, who knows? I mean, you never know, but
Knock on wood.
I love it anyways. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember going out and looking for seeds because that was our thing. If we look for seeds, you're going to plant it around where you need it. Why go looking for it? Go back and get some seeds. Get a garden going.
Make
Everybody.
it readily available, right?
So that's something I grow. My grandmother's valerian. She has valerian up there. I grow the same strain of valerian that she had.
man, that's amazing.
Comfrey. Comfrey is another one. I got a really old strain of comfrey. And that's a real good one.
That's awesome.
I was trying to think of what else I had all planted down there. Lungwort.
Oh yeah.
Out here too. Mugwort's a good one.
Do you guys have lungwort lichen growing up there?
No.
I accidentally stumbled across some. It was federal land, so I don't know if I was legal or not legal, but I couldn't help but I had to get some. But you talk about lungwort lichen and Usnea lichen.
Yep.
I mean, one of those things that you just stumble across. And
I had to think, that isn't the one that's like a brown cup upside
no,
down? No, okay.
this is like oak leaves in like layering on a tree. Crazy
No.
looking anyways. I mean, I had seen it. I never thought about looking for it, never saw it before, but it was pretty crazy.
See, we don't grow that here, so that's amazing to me because we don't have it here. And I've learned a lot of other things from everybody else because they have a different climate than me.
Yeah.
Stuff. So it's kind of neat. I get some pictures in the email there once in a while. And it'd be a picture of their plant, and it's like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
What
it's
is
crazy.
it? So I keep trying to think of what I would be foraging for here, when it gets to spring. And colt's foot is another one. It's great for coughs and anti-mucus. And they flower before the leaves come up.
Wow.
You'll see the flower first. There'll be a bare flower sitting there. You're like, what the hell?
Wow.
They look like dandelion flowers, just different.
Richard Henderson asked, what is it for?
Which one?
Yeah, which one, Richard? Good question.
What was the question? What is what?
What is it for?
Oh,
What's up, everyone, from Jay Brennan?
Hey, that's all good, buddy. I just wanted to send you the invite in case you had time or chance to. So that's all good.
Yeah. I sent Amanda a note just saying that you'd be on. Check in if you want.
Cool.
The last one, colt's foot.
Last one we're talking about.
Yeah, colt's foot. The leaves look like the bottom of a pony hoof. They have the little V in it, like a frog and a horse. But you'll see them probably first thing they'll come up is the flower, and then the leaves will come up, and they're kind of like gelatinous leaves. They're thick and rubbery.
Huh.
They're tough. Colt's foot, and it's good for bronchitis and. Oh, the one she found in the tree, that's lungwort, she said.
Yeah, lungwort lichen. There's a lungwort and then there's a lungwort lichen.
Yep. My lungwort is pulmonaria. So
What was it lungwort used for?
Pulmonary, yep.
Okay.
For the lungs. A
Yep.
lot of the plants that you find and you look up, a lot of their definitions or their names will go along with, or sometimes even the way they look will go along with what organs or things that they treat or that they're good for.
Yep. Keep having to find my thing. Goldenrod, that was the other one that was pretty common, everybody could find.
Yes, I love goldenrod.
Yeah, I just told a girlfriend about that earlier. She's having allergies and all that.
When I first brought that into the house and hung it up in the kitchen to dry, my husband said, "No wonder I'm sneezing and I'm blah, blah." And I said, "No," I said, "you're sneezing and you've got allergies from the ragweed that blooms the same time as goldenrod." I said, "But goldenrod, it's not pollinated by the wind." I said, "Ragweed is." I said, "That's what causes your allergies." It took a long time for my husband to have confidence in my research and my new knowledge of things. One thing I love goldenrod for is my daughter gets canker sores a lot. And I make a tea out of it and just have her swish a few times, and she swears that within 24 hours her canker sores are gone.
Wow. Awesome.
Says it's good for fevers.
Richard Henderson said, I think goldenrod honey tastes funny.
It tastes funny.
That's what he said.
I've
Tastes
never
like
tasted it, so
It tastes like hay. I should imagine that's what goldenrod kind of tastes like, is hay.
maybe.
I bucked a lot of hay. I haven't eaten any hay, but I bucked a lot.
St. John's wort we were talking about the other day too.
Yeah.
For depression and menopause and all those things. Kind of neat. It's neat to know the different climates. Now, I've learned a lot from different people on our group, just because they're in a different climate than I am,
Yep.
or the stuff that they have.
Richard said, yes, it tastes like dirty hay.
Dirty hay.
This tastes like sweet meat.
Yeah, without the molasses.
Sweet meat tastes like to me. It tastes like dirty hay.
Yes. Sweet feed without the molasses. Isn't that the one they put molasses on?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And sticks and all kinds of stuff. It's like, what the hell are you putting in here?
Yeah.
Hey, Phil, how you doing, buddy? Billy's watching.
I feel good. No, that was just about all that I had
Nice.
in
Nice.
our thing.
Well, I appreciate you, Lisa. You do such a well job, and you're always on top of everything. I'm so glad to have you as a co-host and helping me out with all this stuff. Tiffany, awesome having you. I hope you come back. I hope we have you again.
Thanks for having me. It was fun. This was my first podcast, so it was fun.
Good. Well, maybe next time we'll do more shots. I don't know.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm game.
Come back and do another one. I'm always putting new things in there, and then
Absolutely.
tomorrow, the things
And
we talk about, I put in the chat.
passion for this and your knowledge are awesome. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
all
Thank
this.
you.
And I can't wait to get a couple of those copper cups.
Absolutely. Just holler at us.
Yeah, absolutely will. And thanks for keeping us up to date on stuff and being a part of Tracy Bumgarner. Love Tracy, awesome guy. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting his wife yet, but I'm sure she's just as good. So
Oh yeah, she's long. They're both the best.
I'll bet. I'm sure of it. And yeah, I hope to see you guys soon. And Tiffany, thanks again for coming on. Don't leave yet. I'm going to end the podcast, but I still want to talk to you afterwards. So, everybody, thanks for joining in and being a part of this. And I hope you guys learned something tonight. And thanks for welcoming Tiffany on here. And,
Thanks for having me.
it's been
Richard
a pleasure. It really has.
Richard
And,
Henderson says he gets a kick out of trying different honeys from all over. Buckwheat honey is good for honey infusions.
Makes
That
sense.
sounds interesting.
I didn't know that about him. He knew about the bee poplar.
Nice. I know. Yeah, there's different honeys all over different whatever region. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of times back when I was being a beekeeper, a lot of people up north that had hives would send their hives down to Florida to pollinate the orange groves,
Oh,
and then they would ship them back full of honey.
nice. Huh.
Yeah,
I
looks
know
like we
we
lost Tiffany. Tiffany,
Blueberry honey and stuff. But that was that, and they're saying good night, all.
all right. Well, it's been fun. It's been a pleasure. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Same time, same bat channel.
Yeah.
Shout out, everybody.
Bye. Good night, everybody.
Good night.